All right, so today we're diving into some pretty heavy economic news. We're talking U.S. layoffs, and they are surging.
Yeah.
You know those headlines you've probably seen? We're going to dig a little deeper and see what's really happening.
For sure.
February 2025 saw the highest number of job cuts announced since all the way back in July 2020.
Wow.
That's a huge jump, 245% higher than this time last year.
Yeah, that's massive.
We're talking about 172,017 job cuts just in February alone.
Yeah, it's a significant shift for sure. And I think it's crucial to understand, what's driving it.
Right.
There are a couple of major factors I think we need to look at.
Okay, let's break it down.
One of those is DOGE.
DOGE, huh?
Yeah.
Like that cryptocurrency with the Shiba Inu dog. Remember that meme?
Yeah.
Guess it's not just a joke anymore.
No, it seems DOGE has gone from the internet to impacting potential jobs.
So DOGE is now something else.
That's right now it stands for the Department of Government Efficiency. It's a government program started by the Trump administration and, surprisingly, Elon Musk.
Wow.
Their focus is streamlining government operations, which unfortunately means a reduction in the federal workforce.
Right.
And the numbers are pretty startling. 63,583 federal employees and contractors laid off just in February.
That's a lot of people impacted by this, sudden shift in government policy.
It is.
What does this mean? Bigger picture, is this a temporary thing, or are we going to see more changes because of this?
Well, the thing is, a lot of these February layoffs, they won't even show up in employment reports until later.
Oh, really?
It's like we're seeing the ripple effect, like a big stone dropped in a pond.
I see.
So the full impact of DOGE is still unfolding.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, it raises questions about the future of government jobs. Is it the start of a shrinking public sector? How might that impact you down the line?
It's definitely something to keep an eye on for sure.
Absolutely.
But along with DOGE, there's this other big story happening. The retail sector is taking a huge hit.
Yeah, retail's been struggling.
Almost 39,000 job cuts announced in February.
Wow.
That's a 572% increase compared to last year.
Oh, my goodness.
It kind of makes you wonder, are we headed for retail apocalypse 2.0?
Well, there are definitely some concerning trends. For sure, we're seeing store closures, bankruptcies.
Right.
But you also have to think about the way people shop these days. Online shopping has been shaking up traditional retail for years.
Sure.
That could be part of a larger transformation.
Makes you think, what will shopping even look like in the future?
Right.
What happens to all those massive shopping malls?
Yeah, it's a good question.
It's almost like we're seeing a changing of the guard in how we shop.
I think so.
Definitely a tough situation for those losing their jobs.
Absolutely.
So we've got DOGE shaking up government jobs, retail struggling. How does all this affect the overall labor market? I mean, are we teetering on the brink of a recession?
Well, it's natural to feel uneasy, with layoffs on this scale.
Yeah.
However, despite these cuts, many economists are predicting decent job growth in other areas.
Okay, so it's not all doom and gloom.
Right. It's more of a reshuffling.
Okay.
Some sectors are shrinking while others are expanding.
I see.
But the question is the economy strong enough to absorb these job losses and create enough new opportunities?
Right. And what about the long-term effect? Retail.
Yeah, those are big questions for sure.
Definitely challenges ahead.
Yeah.
We've got an aging workforce, and there's a lot of uncertainty surrounding immigration policies.
Right.
Adds another layer of complexity to the labor market outlook.
Absolutely.
Feels like we're in this weird transition period where the old rules are changing.
Precisely. And one of the biggest changes we're seeing is the move toward skills-based hiring.
Skill-based hiring.
Yeah.
Okay. So instead of just looking at resumes and degrees,
Right.
companies are focusing on what you can actually do.
Exactly.
Showcasing your skills and abilities no matter your background or formal qualifications.
That's right. It's a major shift.
So it's becoming the norm, not just a trend.
Yeah, a recent study found that 95% of employers now believe skills-based hiring is the future of recruitment.
Wow, 95%.
Yeah, it's huge.
So what does this mean for someone looking for a job now, or even someone who wants to, stay ahead of the curve in their current field?
It means continuous learning and skills development are crucial.
Okay.
You need to be constantly upskilling and reskilling to stay relevant in this fast-paced job market.
Right. So having a degree or, years of experience isn't enough anymore.
Not really.
You need to prove you're adaptable, a lifelong learner.
Absolutely.
And that you have those in-demand skills.
Right.
So we've talked about the surge in layoffs, DOGE's impact, the retail sector struggles, and this kind of overall resilience but uncertainty in the labor market.
Yeah.
And these big changes in how we approach work and hiring.
Right. And that brings us to a crucial question. How will all these changes reshape the job market in the long run?
That is the big question, isn't it?
It is.
Will this shift towards skills-based hiring create a more equitable and accessible job market with more opportunities?
Yeah.
Or will it further marginalize certain groups who lack access to training and resources?
Right. These are the big questions we need to think about as we move forward.
Absolutely.
What we're seeing now isn't just about numbers. It's about people's lives and the future of work itself.
Yeah.
It's a conversation we need to have on a societal level and within our own communities.
I completely agree. So we were just talking about these massive changes in the job market. It's almost like we're standing on the edge of a whole new era of work.
It really is.
And it can feel overwhelming trying to figure out, what skills should we even focus on?
Right.
It's like we need a crystal ball to see which ones will be in demand, in the next 5 or 10 years.
I know you're absolutely right. But even without that crystal ball, there's some pretty strong indicators we can look at.
Okay, so what are we seeing?
Well, we talked about the rise of skills-based hiring.
Right.
But what does that actually mean in terms of specific skills?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
It is. And one area that keeps coming up is data literacy.
Data literacy.
Yeah, the ability to analyze and interpret data is becoming essential across so many industries.
It makes sense.
We're practically drowning in information these days.
Oh, yeah.
And being able to make sense of it all is a highly sought-after skill.
It's like everyone needs to be a detective these days, right?
Exactly.
Shifting through all those clues to find the patterns and insights that lead to smarter decisions.
Right. Precisely. And it's not just about, crunching numbers in a spreadsheet.
Right.
It's about understanding the story behind the data and being able to communicate that story effectively.
So it's not enough to just, have the data. You have to know what to do with it.
Exactly. You have to be able to use those insights to solve real-world problems.
Okay, so data analysis, problem-solving, communication, those are some key skills to keep in mind.
Absolutely.
Are there any other areas that are seeing this kind of rapid growth?
Definitely anything related to automation and artificial intelligence is booming right now.
Here come the robots. Should we be worried?
Well, it's not about robots taking over the world, at least not yet.
Okay, good.
But it is about understanding how these technologies are fundamentally changing the nature of work itself.
Okay.
It's more about learning to work alongside these new tools, wouldn't you say?
Right. So instead of fearing automation, we should learn how to leverage it.
Exactly. There's a growing demand for people who can design, implement, and manage these automated systems.
So what kind of things are we talking about?
Think about things like machine learning, robotic process automation, even robotics in the more traditional sense.
I actually read an article recently about how AI is being used in education.
Oh, interesting.
To create personalized learning experiences.
That's a perfect example.
Yeah.
And it brings us to another really critical skill set for the future adaptability and a willingness to learn continuously.
Okay.
The ability to adapt to new situations, learn new skills quickly, and stay ahead of the curve is absolutely crucial.
Yeah, in today's rapidly changing world, things are moving so fast.
Exactly.
We did touch on this earlier, but it bears repeating.
For sure.
It's like the old career ladder has been replaced with a jungle gym.
I like that analogy.
You got to be agile and flexible, always ready to explore new paths.
Yeah, it captures the spirit of what's happening. It's all about embracing the unknown, being open to new possibilities.
Right.
And constantly pushing yourself to grow.
And that leads us to something that I think is often overlooked, but is so crucial for success in any field soft skills.
You're so right.
So we're talking communication, teamwork, problem solving, critical thinking, those kind of interpersonal skills that are so important.
Exactly. Those are the skills that are the foundation of effective collaboration and human connection.
And those are even more vital in a world that's dominated by technology.
Absolutely. Employers want people who can communicate effectively, work well in teams, and manage those sometimes tricky interpersonal dynamics.
For sure. So it's not just about the technical stuff. It's about being able to work with people.
Right. It's about finding the right balance between technical expertise and those essential human skills.
So the future of work, it's all about embracing a growth mindset.
It is.
Constantly learning, evolving,
Yeah.
being able to adapt to whatever challenges come your way.
That sums it up perfectly. It's about viewing challenges as opportunities and pushing yourself beyond your comfort zone to explore those new possibilities.
I love that.
Man. Speaking of challenges, we can't ignore the worry a lot of people have about the impact of technology on jobs.
Right. Is this fear of robots replacing us a legitimate concern?
It's a valid concern, for sure.
Yeah.
While it's true that automation will likely displace some jobs, it's also true that technology creates new jobs.
Okay.
It's less about robots taking over and more about a shift in the types of jobs available.
So it's not like a one-to-one replacement.
No, not at all. The key is to focus on developing skills that complement technology rather than competing with it.
Okay, so instead of fearing automation, maybe we should see it as an opportunity to enhance what we can do.
That's the idea.
Yeah.
Imagine a doctor using AI-powered tools to make quicker, more accurate diagnoses.
Right.
The technology doesn't replace the doctor. It helps them to be even better at their job.
It's like a tool in their toolbox.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We can use technology to work smarter, not harder.
Right. It's like a whole new era of humans and machines working together.
Exactly. And it makes you wonder how this will change the way we approach learning and education in the future.
That's a really interesting thought. We're already seeing a shift toward personalized learning experiences powered by technology,
Right.
like those AI-powered learning platforms we were talking about earlier.
Right. It's like having a personal tutor available 24/7.
Wow.
And as technology evolves, we can expect even more innovative approaches to learning and development.
This is all very exciting, but it's important to remember that we're not just talking about abstract concepts here.
Right.
These changes have real-world impacts on people and entire communities.
You're absolutely right. And that brings us to a very important question. How do we ensure that everyone benefits from these advancements?
Right.
And that no one is left behind in this rapidly changing world? How do we make this future of work inclusive, equitable, and accessible to all?
That's the big question, isn't it?
It is. It's a huge challenge, but it's also a huge opportunity.
So how do we do it?
It requires a collective effort from everyone: governments, businesses, educators, and individuals.
So what are some specific things we can do?
Well, we need to invest in education and training programs that equip people with the skills they need for the digital economy.
Okay.
We need to make it easier for people to reskill and upskill to meet the demands of the changing job market.
Right, and we need to make sure that everyone has access to those resources and opportunities.
Absolutely, regardless of their background or their circumstances.
It's about making sure everyone has a chance to contribute, to innovate, and to reach their full potential in this new world of work.
I completely agree. It's about creating a future where technology serves humanity, not the other way around.
I love that. And that brings us back to those essential soft skills we were talking about earlier.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm really curious about how we can develop those soft skills, both in ourselves and in others.
Yeah.
You can't just download empathy or communication skills from an app, can you?
That's such a good point. Developing soft skills is different from learning technical skills.
So how do we do it?
It's about nurturing specific habits and adopting the right mindset.
Okay, give me an example.
But one of the most important habits is active listening.
Active listening.
Yeah, truly paying attention to what others are saying, making an effort to understand their perspective, and responding in a thoughtful way.
It sounds so simple.
I know.
But it's amazing how often we don't really listen to each other.
You're right. It's easy to get caught up in our own thoughts and agendas that we don't really hear what other people are trying to communicate.
So active listening. Check. What else?
Another key habit is to look for opportunities to collaborate and work in teams.
Right.
Sharing ideas, learning from each other's strengths, and navigating those inevitable disagreements. That's how we strengthen those interpersonal muscles.
I see. So it's not just about working alone in your own little bubble.
Not at all. It's about learning to work effectively with a variety of people to achieve a common goal.
It's not always easy, but those are essential skills for success in any field.
Absolutely. We talked about emotional intelligence earlier.
Right.
Can you tell me a little bit more about what it means to be emotionally intelligent and how we can develop that in ourselves?
Sure. So emotional intelligence is about being aware of and managing your own emotions,
Okay.
as well as recognizing and understanding the emotions of others.
Okay.
It's about being self-aware, empathetic, and being able to build healthy relationships.
It almost sounds like a superpower.
It can be.
Is it something you're born with, or can you learn it?
While some people might naturally be more emotionally intelligent, it is absolutely a skill that can be developed and strengthened through practice.
Okay.
It's like exercising a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it gets.
So how would someone go about developing their emotional intelligence?
We'll start by paying attention to your own emotions. Notice how you feel in different situations.
Okay.
What triggers certain emotions for you, and how your emotions influence your actions.
So it's about becoming an observer of your own inner world.
Exactly. Once you understand your own emotions better, you can start to develop strategies to manage them effectively.
Okay, so self-awareness is the first step. What about understanding other people's emotions?
That takes empathy, the ability to put yourself in someone else's shoes and see the world from their perspective.
Right.
Try to understand their feelings and motivations, even if you don't agree with them.
It's not about agreeing with someone, it's about understanding them.
Exactly.
I can see how that would be a game changer when it comes to building strong relationships, both personally and professionally.
For sure, it helps you create meaningful connections, build trust, and navigate conflict more effectively.
Really important skills.
So we've got active listening, collaboration, and emotional intelligence.
Yes.
What other soft skills are important in this new world of work?
Another crucial one is critical thinking.
Critical thinking.
Yeah, the ability to look at information, objectively recognize biases, and arrive at sound conclusions.
It's about thinking for yourself, not just blindly accepting everything you see and hear.
So important these days.
You need to be able to distinguish fact from fiction.
Absolutely.
And make informed decisions based on solid evidence and logic.
Especially with the constant bombardment of information we face these days.
Right, and that brings us to another essential skill, problem solving.
Yes.
You need to be able to identify challenges, break them down into manageable parts,
Right.
and come up with innovative solutions.
It's about being resourceful, resilient,
Yeah.
and able to think outside the box.
And that's a valuable skill in a world that's constantly changing.
Absolutely.
Wow, we've covered a lot of ground here. Active listening, collaboration, emotional intelligence, critical thinking, and problem solving. It sounds like a lot to handle.
It is a lot, but it's a journey, not a destination.
It's a process of continuously learning, practicing, and refining these skills over time.
Right. And the good news is there are plenty of resources available to help people develop these skills.
Like what kind of resources?
Well, there are books, articles, online courses, workshops, even coaching programs that can provide guidance and support.
So it's about finding the resources that work best for you and committing to that process of personal growth.
Absolutely. It's definitely worth the effort because these soft skills are truly the foundation of success in any field.
They're the human skills that will always be in demand no matter how much technology advances.
I completely agree.
We've talked a lot about the individual's role in finding purpose and navigating this new world of work. But what about the employers?
Yes.
What can organizations do to create a work environment that is more purpose-driven and fulfilling for their employees?
That's a fantastic question.
Yeah.
Employers have a huge responsibility to create a work environment where people feel valued, where their contributions are recognized,
Right.
and where they feel a sense of belonging.
It's about so much more than just offering a decent salary and benefits package.
Exactly. It's about building a culture that celebrates employees' talents and offers opportunities for growth and development.
It's about giving employees a voice, encouraging them to share their feedback, and involving them in decisions that affect them.
Yes. It's about creating a sense of ownership and shared responsibility.
I see.
And importantly, it's about making sure the organization's mission and values align with the personal values and goals of their employees.
So it's like finding that sweet spot where the organization's needs and the individual's needs intersect.
Exactly. When that happens, it creates a synergy that benefits everyone.
It's a win-win for both the organization and the employees.
It really is. And it's something we're seeing more and more companies prioritize as they try to attract and retain top talent.
Because at the end of the day, people want to feel like their work has meaning.
Absolutely.
And that they are part of something bigger than themselves.
Absolutely. And when they find that sense of purpose in their work, it unlocks their potential, their creativity,
Right.
and their commitment to the organization's success.
It's a powerful force that can transform not just individual lives, but entire organizations and even whole communities.
I completely agree. And it's a force we need to tap into if we want to create a future of work that is both successful and fulfilling for everyone.
Now, before we move on, I want to talk about something that's been on my mind, this whole idea of purpose in this new world of work.
Okay.
With everything changing so quickly, it's easy to feel lost or uncertain about our place in it all. How do we find meaning and purpose in our work?
That's a big question.
especially when the nature of work itself is changing so rapidly.
It is, and it's one that a lot of people are wrestling with right now.
Yeah,
The need to find meaning and purpose is fundamental to who we are as human beings.
I agree.
We all crave it, regardless of what we do or our circumstances.
I think it's especially important in these times of rapid change and uncertainty.
I agree.
It's easy to feel adrift when the old rules no longer apply,
Right.
and the future feels unpredictable.
Yeah, having a sense of purpose can provide that much-needed sense of grounding, direction, and motivation.
Sure.
And finding purpose doesn't have to be about, some grand world-changing mission.
Right.
It can be about finding meaning in your everyday tasks, in acts of service, in the connections we make with others.
It's about making sure your work aligns with your values,
Yeah.
your passions, and your
Yes.
own unique talents.
Exactly. And it's about recognizing that work is not just about earning a paycheck. It's about contributing to something bigger than ourselves.
Okay, so how do we actually go about finding that sense of purpose? Is it something we stumble upon, or is it something we intentionally go after?
I think it's a little of both.
Yeah.
Sometimes purpose finds us when we least expect it. We might discover a passion for a particular cause.
Right.
Or we might find ourselves drawn to a certain kind of work that just lights us up inside.
It can be like a sudden realization of feeling that this is what I'm meant to be doing.
Yes, exactly. But sometimes finding purpose requires a more intentional approach.
Okay.
It might involve soul-searching, experimenting, trying different things until you find what resonates with you.
It's about being open to new possibilities, exploring different paths,
Right.
and paying attention to what sparks your curiosity and brings you joy.
And it's about being willing to step outside of your comfort zone
Yeah.
and challenge yourself to grow.
It was a journey of self-discovery,
Yeah.
a process of exploration and experimentation.
Yes, and it's a journey that's definitely worth taking because finding purpose in your work can bring incredible fulfillment, satisfaction, and joy.
It can transform work from a chore to a calling,
Absolutely.
a source of energy and inspiration.
And it can give you a sense of a connection to something bigger than yourself, a sense of belonging, and a sense of meaning in a world that can often feel chaotic and overwhelming.
That makes a lot of sense. But what about those people who feel trapped in jobs that don't align with their values or their passions?
Right.
What advice do you have for someone who's stuck in a soul-crushing job?
It's a tough situation, and I know a lot of people can relate to feeling that way.
Yeah, for sure.
The first thing I'd say is you're not alone.
Yeah.
It's normal to feel dissatisfied sometimes, especially if your job isn't a good fit for who you are and what you believe in.
It's like wearing shoes that don't fit. They might look good on the outside,
Right.
but they're going to be uncomfortable and eventually cause you pain.
Exactly. And the longer you stay in that situation, the more it can drain your energy, your motivation, and even your sense of self-worth.
So what can you do if you're stuck in that kind of situation? Where do you even begin?
The first step is to admit that something needs to change.
Yeah.
Remind yourself that you deserve to feel fulfilled by your work,
Right.
and that finding a job that aligns with your values and passions is possible.
It's about giving yourself permission to dream bigger and imagine a different future for yourself.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And once you've acknowledged that change is needed, the next step is to start exploring your options.
Okay.
That could involve soul searching, doing some research, talking to people in fields that interest you.
It's about expanding your horizons and thinking about different possibilities.
And then it's about taking those first steps toward your goal, even if it seems daunting at first.
It's about being proactive, taking control of your career, and making choices that will lead to a more fulfilling future.
You've got it. And remember, it's a journey, not a destination.
Right.
There will be ups and downs, but the important thing is to keep your eye on the goal and take it one step at a time.
We've talked a lot about individual responsibility and navigating the future of work, but what about the role employers play in this?
Well, that's a great question.
What can organizations do to create a more purpose-driven work environment?
Employers have a vital role in creating a work environment where employees feel like they belong, where their contributions matter, and where they feel a sense of purpose.
So it's about creating a company culture where people feel valued and respected?
Yes, and it's about more than just competitive salaries and benefits.
Right.
It's about offering opportunities for growth and development, recognizing people's talents,
Okay.
and creating a workplace where everyone feels supported.
And giving employees a voice and involving them in decisions.
Exactly. It's about creating that sense of ownership and shared responsibility,
I see.
and making sure the organization's mission and values are in sync with the personal values and goals of their employees.
It sounds like finding that sweet spot where what the organization needs and what individual employees want meet is key.
You're exactly right. When that happens, it's a win-win for both the organization and the people who work there.
It makes a lot of sense.
It's something that more and more companies are recognizing as they try to recruit and keep the best people.
Because ultimately, people want to feel like their work matters, that they're part of something bigger than themselves.
Yes, and when people find that sense of purpose in their work, it unleashes their potential, their creativity, and their dedication to the company's success.
It's a powerful force that can change not just individual lives, but organizations and entire communities.
Absolutely. It's a force we need to embrace if we want to create a future of work that is both successful and fulfilling for everyone.
So true. As we wrap up this part of our conversation, I want to leave our listener with a thought-provoking question. What does it actually mean to thrive in this new world of work?
That's such a good question.
Is it all about climbing the corporate ladder and getting that corner office, or is it about something more meaningful?
Is it about finding purpose and meaning in your work, contributing your talents to the world, and making a difference no matter how small in the lives of others?
Is it about aligning your work with your values and living a life that feels authentic, fulfilling, and purposeful?
These are the questions we all need to consider as we face this ever-changing future of work.
These are the questions that will lead us to a future that is both successful and humane. Wow, we just went deep thinking about what it really means to thrive in this new world of work.
Yeah, it's a lot to unpack.
It is, and it's easy to get caught up in, those headlines about robots and AI taking over.
Right.
But I think it's important to step back and think about what kind of future we want to create.
Yeah. Absolutely. The future isn't something that just happens to us.
Right.
We shape it through the choices we make, the actions we take, and the vision we have for the world we want to live in.
So let's get practical for a minute. We've talked a lot about, skills and stuff.
Yeah.
But how does someone actually start preparing for this future of work?
Yeah.
Where do you even begin?
I think one of the most important things is to adopt a mindset of continuous learning.
Continuous learning.
Yeah, the days of learning one skill and coasting on that for your entire career are over.
Right.
Things are changing so rapidly now that we all need to become lifelong learners, always seeking out new knowledge and new skills.
It's like that saying, you've got to keep swimming or you'll sink.
Exactly. And the good news is there are so many resources available to help us become lifelong learners.
So what kind of resources are we talking about?
Well, think about online courses, workshops, mentorship programs.
Right.
Even just reading books and articles in your field can make a big difference.
It's about being proactive, taking charge of your own development.
Absolutely. Don't wait for someone to tell you what to learn.
Right. Go out and find it.
Exactly.
Okay. So when it comes to specific skills to focus on, we've already talked about, data literacy, automation, AI.
Yeah, those are big ones.
Those are all areas with huge growth potential. Are there others?
Definitely. There's also a growing demand for skills in sustainability, renewable energy, and what's known as the circular economy.
It's like we're seeing a green wave sweeping across the job market.
That's a great way to put it. And it's opening up all kinds of new opportunities in fields like green building design, renewable energy installation, sustainable agriculture, the list goes on.
So it's not just about tech skills, it's also about having a broader understanding of the challenges our planet is facing.
Right.
And using our skills to create a more sustainable future.
Exactly. And this brings us back to that idea of purpose we were discussing earlier.
Right. Finding that thing that you're passionate about.
When you connect your work to something you really care about, whether that's sustainability, social justice, or something else entirely, it gives you a sense of motivation and resilience that can help you through any challenge.
It's like having that North Star guiding you through the ups and downs of your career.
I love that analogy. It reminds me of a quote by Frederick Buechner.
Oh, yeah.
The place God calls you to is the place where your deep gladness and the world's deep hunger meet.
Wow, that's beautiful.
I think that applies to our work as well.
I agree. So we've got lifelong learning, embracing new technologies, and finding your purpose. It's a lot to think about.
It is.
Do you have any final words of wisdom for our listener as they navigate this ever-changing world of work?
I would say don't be afraid to experiment, try new things, get out of your comfort zone, and see what sparks your interest. Network with people in different fields, volunteer for projects that align with your passions, and never stop learning and growing.
It's about embracing the adventure, the uncertainty, and all the possibilities that the future holds.
That's exactly. The future of work isn't something to fear. It's something to embrace with courage, creativity, and hope.
I love that. Well, that brings us to the end of our deep dive into this ever-changing world of work.
It's been a fascinating conversation.
Yeah. We hope you've gained some valuable insights and maybe even a little inspiration to find your own path in this exciting new world of work.
And remember, the future isn't set in stone. We create it together through our choices, our actions, and our commitment to innovation.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. Until next time, keep learning, keep growing, and keep diving deep into the things that matter to you.